Hi, this is Sweet June. How's everybody doing today? Um, Hope everybody's having a blessed day. Um, I'm doing part two of my video. I say why um, women should not. It's better for women to not have children than to be a single mother. And as I've stated some of the things in my other video, stating some of the reasons why, particularly black women. Um, in situations that we're in, our marital rates are very low for various reasons. I mean, contrary to what some of the black men are saying here on YouTube, um, our marriage rates are low for a variety of reasons. You know, it's not just because some of the reasons that these guys are stating here on YouTube. Because we are all black women are not monolithic. We're not all to be put in a box. We're all different. There's a lot of good black women out here. So that argument is weak that we're all horrible people and bad attitudes and all that. Um, but it's a lot of other reasons why black women have low marital rates. A lot of our men are in prison. I mean, I don't really have time to. I really don't want to break all that down, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of factors that are going against us with our men in our community. Um, so it's just a lot of reasons why, our marital rates are low. And children need to be raised in a two-parent family. I mean, even Jehovah God in the Bible, says that we should not have sexual relations until we get married, and the child should have a mother and a father in the home. I mean, that's scriptural. It's scriptural. And it's the reason why. Why do you think Jehovah God puts that in the Bible? God is a God of order. And so that is the natural order of things. The man is the head, there's God, Jehovah God, then there's the husband, he's the head, and then there's the wife, and then there's the children. And it's the reason why he has it set up that way. It's for our protection. It's for our protection, and it's for us to have a, a better life. You know, with things being set up that way, with Jehovah God instituting and saying that this is the way things should be, it's for the benefit of everyone involved. It's for the benefit of the man. It's for the benefit of the woman. It's for the benefit of the children. It's a win-win situation. Everybody benefits. You know, even men. There's some men that are single parents, and even when men are single parents, they struggle because it's not natural. It's not natural for anybody to be a single parent. It's not natural for a woman to be a single parent. It's not natural for a man to be a single parent. It's not natural for anybody to be a single parent. It is not the natural course of things. So if you go out and you have sex or you go out and have a child outside of marriage, however you decide to do it, which most of the time is because people having sex outside of marriage, you are going outside the will of God. You know, when I had sex outside of marriage and I had my two kids, I went outside the will of God. When lots of other women that are single mothers, they have sex outside of marriage, they go outside the will of God. When men go out and have sex with women they're not married to and they have children out of wedlock, they are going outside the will of God. There's no two ways about it. And when you go outside the will of God, when you go outside his will, they are they they're going they are going to be problems. You are going to have problems when you go outside the will of God. You will have problems. I'm living will and testament because, like I said in my other video, I have done nothing but struggle the whole time that I was raising my kids. Um, Even when you're outside of God's will and you made a mistake, and He acknowledges that and everything, He's being the loving God that He is. He's going to see you through it. He's going to see you through your trials and tribulations. He's going to see you through it. So all these years, Jehovah God has been seeing me through. He's been giving me the mental endurance. He's been giving me the emotional endurance. He's been making sure that we were provided for financially, even though it was a struggle. And I thank him so much for that, because I couldn't have done it without Jehovah God. I could not have done it without him. And like I was saying in my other video, as a single mom, you gotta look to Jehovah God to give you strength, because you can't draw that strength from the world. You're not going to be able to draw it from the world. Satan is the ruler of the world. So it says that in the scripture. So anything that's going on in the world, is I'm not saying everything is Satan, because we have freedom of will, so sometimes people make bad choices, but there's so many negative things, a lot of things going on, especially this day and age in the world. You're not going to be able to draw your strength from the world. You got to draw it from Jehovah God as a single mother. And it's just not to the benefit of the children. um, it affects the children when a children is not raised in a two-parent home. It affects them emotionally. Now, people can say all kinds of things that children can thrive in a single parent home. There are a lot of success stories out there of children being raised in a single parent home and going out to be successful. There are exceptions. There are exceptions to everything. But but it overall, it benefits the child even more if the child is in a home with two parents. First of all, it takes a lot of stress off of you as a mother. If you have, wait a minute, provided that you have a loving partner. Provided that you have a loving partner that is there, that's looking out for your best interest and for that child's best interest, um, then yeah, it's gonna take a lot of burdens off of you as a woman. Because I know all these years, like I said, when I've been raising my kids, I wanted to get married, particularly after I had my youngest son. I wanted to get married. Found out quick, fast, in a hurry that it wasn't going to be that easy, because men are not so quick to jump up and marry you if you have kids by someone else. They're not quick to jump in and jump up and be with someone and have a ready-made family. So I realized, didn't take me long to realize that it wasn't going to be that easy. And it I could have used that help. I really could have used that help emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, financially. My children could have used that father figure. They very much needed that father figure. I know that there's a lot of things that a lot of issues that came up with my sons over the years. And even my 17-year-old now, there's some issues. I'm not going to really go into it, but there is some issues that I'm kind of dealing with now. I mean, he's a good kid for the most part, but he's a teenager. Let's face facts. That right now, I could use his father's input. If his father was in his life, I mean, I could really, really use his help as far as helping to guide him into young manhood. But his father is not there. And so it's a lot that's going to be lacking if your children do not have that father figure, particularly if they're males, and particularly if they're black males, young black males. They need that. They need that father. And it's really detrimental for a single black woman, to because young black males are at risk. They're at risk of all kinds of things, um, negative elements, going on in the black community. And they need all the help that they can get. If they can get that stable family structure, if they can get that stable father or father figure in their life, it will give them all the chances in the world. They would have a better chance of being successful. But when they don't have that guidance, it's very difficult for them. Even when they go into, I know my other son's dad, my oldest son's dad, we were together for a few years, and then we broke up. Um, And his father, after that, his father was kind of like halfway in his life. He wasn't. We were gonna get married, but um, it just didn't work out. I mean, he was kind of running around on me, and I'm not trying to bash or anything. And he wasn't showing me that he was gonna be a good husband figure, let alone a good father figure. I just wasn't seeing it. I just wasn't seeing it, and I just didn't feel like it would be best to marry someone that is not going to be a good husband, let alone a good father. You know. Hope he doesn't see this video. Anyway, I'm not bashing him, but I'm just that's what I seen at the time. Um, I was just keeping it real and trying to be realistic. But there was a lot of things that was lacking. I think over the years as I was raising my oldest son, um, I know that he really could have used a strong presence. His father could have been a stronger presence in his life. He needed that at various times in him growing up, in various times in his life, in his childhood. He really needed that strong father figure. He really could have used his father's presence, but he didn't really have it, like he should have. And so I think he wouldn't have gotten to some of the situations that he got in had his father had a stronger presence in his life, you know. And that's why I say that is so important, even for girls. I mean, even for girls. I mean, a father, the importance of a father in a girl's life is um, a father in a girl's life. He is the first man in her life, and he tells her her worth. A father tells a girl, he teaches her what her worth is. He teaches her to, he shows her, first of all, he leads by example in how to treat women and how he treats her mother. And if he treats her mother with love and respect, that's showing that young girl how a woman is supposed to be treated. He also, he leads by example. Then he tells her, he educates her on how men are and how they think, and how she can avoid some of the pitfalls that young girls fall into. And he teaches her her worth. You know, that's what a father is very instrumental in a young girl's life. And when you grow up without a father, I grew up without a father. So when you grow up without a father, you don't have that. You don't have that man telling you, you know, your worth. He's showing you, telling you your worth, teaching you about, educating you about different things, about different men and how they think, and how to help you to avoid the pitfalls out here that you may encounter with dealing with men and stuff. And it keeps you out of various situations, and it will potentially stop a young girl from going out and having sex and getting pregnant before she's ready to have a child. My two nieces, um, my oldest niece and my youngest niece, both of them are, my oldest niece are, she's in her mid 30s, and she don't have any kids outside of marriage yet. She don't yet. Hopefully she don't, but she doesn't have any children outside of marriage. My youngest niece is in her early 20s, and she doesn't have any children outside of marriage, and she's working on her master's degree. So, no, I think she already has her master's degree. She's either working on it or she already has it. So, and she does not have any children. Both of them were raised in a two-parent home. My brother-in-law did an excellent job with them. My oldest niece has a different dad. My sister had her, and then she moved to Florida, and then she met my brother-in-law, and she got married and had my other niece, and then she had my nephew. Both they're very outstanding young ladies. My oldest niece has a good job down in Atlanta. She's beautiful. They're both beautiful young women. They outstanding young ladies. Very impressed by them. Neither one of them have children outside of wedlock. And it's because they had that strong father figure. My brother-in-law did an excellent job. They had that strong father figure, that strong foundation, and they had a two-parent home, and they had two loving parents. And that is so important. It's very instrumental in girls' life and boys' life. And it's not, I don't recommend a woman having children um, outside of marriage at all, under any circumstances. If you're not married, even if you get to be a certain age, and I know this is easy for me to say because I have two kids, but you gotta, it's not about, I want women to realize and I want women to understand that it's not about what you want. Women get so caught up in, I want a baby, I want a child. Take what you want out of the equation and look at what is best for the child. It's not at the end of the day, it's not about what you want. It's about this child and it's about what's best for this child. You have to think about what is best for this child. And the best thing for this child is to have a two-parent home. It's for you to have a husband before you make this child. And like I said, adoption is the exception because you're basically taking a child out of a bad situation and bringing an unstable situation and bringing them into a situation where they're going to have more stability. That child is already here. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actually giving birth to a child and you're not married and you don't have a husband. And you may not, some women don't even have prospects of a husband. And some women purposely go out and do it. I'm talking about purposely actually make a plan to get pregnant and have a child outside of wedlock. And it's just not a good idea. Some women may get mad at me for saying that and say, well, it's easy for you to say you have two kids. Yes, and I've qualified to speak because I've had a very, very difficult time as a single mother all these years. And that's why I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. If you find yourself still childless at a certain age, you consider adoption. Adoption is a more of a viable option, but do not. I wouldn't recommend that you birth your own children. Like I said, you're going outside of God's will when you do that, first of all. And when you go outside of God's will, you're going to have problems. Look to have problems if you're going to go outside of God's will. Look to have problems. You're going to have problems. And so I wouldn't recommend any woman doing that. Children, statistically, children do better when in a two-parent home. They do better. They do better emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, you know. And in most cases, unless it's a situation to where the father's being abusive, that's a different situation. But I'm talking about a healthy environment with two loving parents and all that. And this is what you want. You want to strive to get married first. And I know some women say, well, I don't have no prospects of finding a husband though. And I'm 30 something and my clock is ticking. Like I said, I don't know what that's like. I don't understand what that's like because I had my children, and I never had to struggle with something like that. But like I say, consider adoption because you're taking a child that's already here and you're giving them a more stable, loving environment. And it's better for that child to be raised in a single parent home than for them to be bounced from one foster home to the next. And I would highly consider that. There's nothing wrong with that. But for you to actually give birth to a child and you don't have a husband and you're going to plan on raising this child from a baby on up on your own, it's going to be a lot that's going to be lacking. It's going to be a lot that's going to be lacking and you're going to have a lot of problems. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You will have a lot of problems. And I will not recommend, particularly if you're a black woman, I do not recommend that you have a child outside of marriage, particularly I don't recommend it for any woman, but particularly for a black woman because we got so many, like I said in my other video, we got so many things that's working against us. And on top of that, we get bashed. And there is a stigma a horrible stigma of associated with black women having being single moms. It's a bad stigma, horrible stigma, and we get judged very harshly, you know. And so on top of everything else, on top of all the other elements, so I wouldn't recommend it. You know, I wouldn't recommend it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Um, Let me know what you think. Um, like my video and please subscribe to my channel. I got some more interesting video topics coming up. This is Sweet Jill.